Hello and welcome to another Cardinals Nest. This is the show where we talk St. Mary's University athletics. I'm Dean Beckman, the faculty athletics representative. My co-host, as always, is Donny Nadeau, our sports information director. We are coming to you from the Jerry and Pat Pappenfuss Multimedia Lab in Aquinas Hall on the campus of St. Mary's University of Minnesota. Donny, our producer today is none other than Jordan Majeski, taking over for Tony Pasquesi today in the producer's seat.
So she gets on the nest, and then she has to produce the nest. Is that how this works?
That's exactly.
So our guest
next
this week, Ryan Stoynich, will be producing. Okay, that should be good. I have to admit that being in HD does not help the looks at all. So,
you look just fine.
Yep,
just fine.
Old as usual.
That's right, Ryan Stoynich, one of the captains from the men's hockey team. He'll be appearing on the Cardinals Nest in just a little bit, but first, Donny and I want to recap the week in sports.
Hang on one second, though. Before we do that, I need to make sure that we tell our viewers that the Nest magic has continued. We had Brooklyn Paulson on last week's show. She went out that night and scored 32 points.
That's right. And the Cardinals pulled off a big upset.
That's right. Ryan Stoynich, he confirmed he was going to be the guest yesterday. Tuesday night, he went out and scored one of St. Mary's 4 goals. So the Nest magic continues.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, the way it's been going, we're going to have athletes clamoring down our door to be on this show because they know the bounce that occurs.
That's right. That's right.
So, Donny, let's recap the week in sports, and we can talk about track and field again because indoor track and field has started for St. Mary's.
Yeah, and they're doing very well. It's a season that it's a progression. Their goal is to get to the MIC championships and be at the top of their game. And this last week they were at the Winter Classic. They had 21 top 5 finishes, including a pair of first place efforts. So I think things for Coach Schneider are certainly moving in the right direction. They've got a big meet this week at Carleton, and then they'll have one more meet at Mankato before the MIC Indoor Championship. So the indoor season is pretty quick, but I know that a lot of the athletes are really doing very well, and this coming week at Carleton, they'll get a chance to see some more of the MIC schools and see how they stack up against them. So it'll be another good meet for them.
Yeah, and a lot of familiar faces on the women's side of the roster, but a lot of new faces on the men's side. And of course, both have some returners and some new freshmen, but a little more new names on the men's side.
Yeah, it takes a little getting used to and a little learning curve, but they do have some very good returners, and Frankie Bacalars is one of them, and Sean Curran, a couple of throwers for the Cardinals are doing very well. So it is a good mix, and I think that that's going to continue over the years as Coach Schneider kind of takes over the program and gets some more athletes. He came in late, so he hasn't been able to recruit this year. So we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, you brought in Darren Schneider, the new head coach, and of course we had him on during the cross country season, now taking over for track and field, and different kind of experience, different kind of coaching, but he's also got some new assistants to help him out as well.
Yeah, no rest for the weary either. It's a full year for Coach Schneider. He's got cross country and moves right into indoor and then outdoor track and field. So very busy for him.
And looking forward to mid-May, the week after graduation, St. Mary's hosts the MIAC Men's and Women's Track and Field Championships.
Yeah, that'll be a great production. A lot of work on our end, but I think it's going to be a really exciting outdoor championships, and hopefully we've got a lot of people who are in the hunt for MIC championships.
Yep. Tennis coach Jeff Hallberg, he's got his teams off to a great start. Women's and men's tennis has been dominating as of late.
Yeah, you look at the graphic right there. The men had 3 matches this weekend and won all 3 of them, 8-1, 7-2 against Lawrence, and then another 8-1 against St. Norbert. Congratulations to Josh Jansen, MIAC Tennis Male Athlete of the Week, which is a huge honor for the men's tennis program. Josh did not lose a match, won his 3 singles and his 3 doubles matches. So outstanding performance by him and really by everybody. If you just look at the scores, we're not talking about also rans in the opponents that they're playing. There's some top competition there, and they're playing very well. On the women's side, they were off this weekend, but they opened up with a couple of 9-0 wins. Great start for them, and I'm really excited to see both of these teams, how they do as we move forward, because there's a lot of talent on both squads, and I think that we're going to surprise quite a few conference teams. The women have a very tough conference opener when they've got to go against Gustavus in their first conference match. But I guess you can look at it two ways. One, it's a great challenge to play them right away, and two, it's nice to get them out of the way right away. So I guess you can look at it either way, but it'll be a really good match for them to get back into action on Sunday.
And why does it seem like every year we're talking about they have to play Gustavus right away in the first conference matchup?
Well, I think a part of it is that we do have the luxury of having our really almost our own tennis center. The Winona Tennis Center, we're able to schedule a lot of matches. A lot of schools don't have that luxury, and getting courts is difficult. When we play Gustavus here, we make sure it's early just because we can get the court time. When we go there, it's really, they have Swanson Indoor Center, so they can play whenever they want, and they probably want it later in the year. But yeah, it's Carleton and Gustavus early in the season for both of them, and those are two of the top teams in the conference, so you can look at it both ways.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have track and field, women's and men's tennis back in action again, and we'll talk more about them in the coming weeks. Let's switch now to women's basketball, Donnie, and they had a huge win the other night. They've really been playing very well as of late. You brought up Brooklyn Paulson's 30-plus performance. They've had some very nice wins, a few losses mixed in here and there, but playing much better basketball.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of been a roller coaster this past week. Like you said, they beat Gustavus. At the time, Gustavus had only had 2 conference losses through the really almost the entire conference slate is almost over. So that was an outstanding win on their part. You've got to tip your cap to Brooklyn. She had 32 points and 11 rebounds, which is amazing. Kind of one of the things we talked about with Brooklyn last week, in that she is becoming such a more well-rounded player. Not only a scorer, she's proven she can score, but also with her rebounding, and that's her 4th double-double of the year, which is outstanding considering she only had 1 in her first 3 seasons. So for her to be playing that well on both ends of the court is certainly nice. Then they come back and they struggled from start to finish against Bethel and took a tough loss there. Rebounded nicely on Monday and picked up a win at St. Olaf, and now they're back. Now they've got the league leaders in Augsburg on Wednesday night, and that'll be another tough test for them. Then they come back home on Saturday for Senior Day when they take on Concordia. It's hard to believe that we start talking about the ends of seasons, because it feels like we've really just begun, and we're already, for basketball, we're a week and a half away from the playoffs.
And that is their last home game, because they're on the road for their final 2 regular season games, and they'll likely be on the road for the playoffs.
Yeah, so they'll have St. Catherine next Monday, and then they'll finish off, or they'll have Carleton on Monday, and then they'll finish off with St. Kate's next Wednesday. So yeah, they're on the road. Saturday will be the last one, and Jada Biermeyer will celebrate Jada's Senior Day. I know Brooklyn is not going to be celebrated because she's going to come back for her 5th season because of the COVID rule. So we get to enjoy watching her play for one more year. But it'll be fun to kind of send off Jada, and she's had a phenomenal 4-year career, and kind of looking forward to Saturday just to let her bask in the glory a little bit.
It was nice to have her and Brooklyn on the Cardinals Nest last week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was.
And Donnie, men's basketball, they had a big win over Bethel, 77-64, and then a heartbreaker against St. Olaf. That was a game where the Cardinals led for most of the game, but St. Olaf had a terrific second half comeback and ended up winning by 1 point, 65-64.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about the up and down on the women's side. You look at the men's last 3 games, the 2 games that they lost by a combined 4 points. They lost to Gustavus 73-70, and then they dropped a 1-pointer to Olaf. I talked to Coach Fano after the St. Olaf game, and he put it bluntly: we got to make our free throws. They were 9 of 19 from the free throw line against St. Olaf. If they make 6 of those, if they go 15 for 19, they win the game without even a question. So it's one of those things. I think it's a forgotten art. Even in the youth nowadays, people don't work on their free throws anymore, and it's such an important part of a game of basketball, and it really came back to haunt them against Olaf. Basketball is a game of momentum, and you see that. I mean, we were cruising in that game against St. Olaf, and then the momentum shifted, and it was hard to get it back. And you're looking at a tie game late in the game, and we weren't able to make a couple of free throws. They did, and really that was the difference in the ball game.
And then St. Mary's now closes things out with 2 home games and then 1 road game at the very end. A really tough home game as we record this now on Wednesday night against Augsburg, one of the best teams not only in the conference but one of the best teams in the country.
And they're gonna come in angry because they've lost their
last
two
straight.
So it's gonna be a great test. I think that because we didn't play them the first time because of COVID, it's going to be exciting to see them play. We've got the number 1 scorer in the conference in Joe Palmer for Augsburg, and the number 2 scorer in the conference in Raheem Anthony for St. Mary's. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's one of those that I think that the men and even the women, they're still in position that they could host a first-round playoff game. So these games are important, and because we have the last game next Wednesday, all the other men's teams will play next Wednesday. That's our bye. So we got to make sure that we take advantage of the Augsburg game, the Concordia game on Saturday, and then Carleton on Monday. And there's no easy one there. Carleton right now is playing probably as good as anybody in the conference. They're in 3rd place, and they've really stepped up their program. So it's an important stretch for us, and I know that we all would love to see a home playoff game. So there's a lot to play for.
Now, our producer, Jordan Majeski, has been thinking in her head this entire time, let's get to the important sport, and that's women's hockey. So let's do that right now, Donnie. And I want to go back a little ways, back to January 28th, when they took on Gustavus and had just one of the best games you'll ever see right here at the SMU Ice Arena, the big 1-1 tie against Gustavus. So, your impression of that?
I mean, if you look at this year, if you want to sum up the year and say that where was our best performance, that by far was the best performance that this team has had, top to bottom. We've had players who have played very well, but that was the first game where everybody was absolutely at the top of their game, and excitement. Oh my gosh, it was, and really that was the first shootout we've had on the women's side, and it was fun. It was exciting.
Yeah.
It was,
and St. Mary's won the shootout.
St. Mary's won the shootout.
Counts as a tie.
Yeah,
right?
that's the part that everybody forgets, is that if you tie in conference play, yes, you go to shootout to get that extra point, because every game is worth 3 points. So if it's still tied after the overtime, then you go to a shootout to determine who gets that extra point. But you know what? It still felt like a win for St. Mary's, and that's the thing with this team, and I think that Jordan would agree with, it's winning the close games. It's taking care of business when it's close. You look at last weekend against St. Kate's. They scored 1 goal in the first game, and they won 1-0. Thank you, Ari, for getting shut out, but all it took was 1 goal. The problem is they haven't been able to follow that up with another performance like that. You go back to the Gustavus series, we tie 1-1, win the shootout, and then we come back and we get shut out in the second game. We beat St. Kate's 1-0, a team that on paper we should beat, and then we turn around the second game and we lose 3-1. And so I think they got to figure out how to make sure that we play consistently for 2 nights rather than just one. And a huge test this weekend with Augsburg, which is really right in the mix with us in terms of battling for home playoff spots. And then we've got Bethel next weekend. So four big conference games left, and then we kind of let the chips fall where they may in terms of who will be hosting and who will be on the road. But four big games. That's 12 points that are out there, and there's no reason that St. Mary's can't finish 2, 3, 4 in the conference. Not. I don't think they can catch Gustavus, but that tie certainly doesn't hurt if it came to a tiebreaker.
Absolutely, yeah. And kind of the same situation on the men's side. They're also searching, Donnie, for some consistency, and we'll ask Ryan Stoynich about that when he joins us in just a minute. But they are coming off of a rare weeknight victory over Gustavus, 4-1. So right now they're on the upside of the roller coaster.
Absolutely. Well, heck, they haven't played in 17 days. You head into the game against Gustavus on Tuesday night. They hadn't played. They hadn't played since January 21st and 22nd when they split against Hamlin. So it was a long time coming, and they played very well. I watched it online. You go up 4-0 after 2 periods, which was outstanding. And that's what they're going to need. They're going to need to continue that. They've got a monster task this weekend, taking on Augsburg, number 4 in the country, and probably one of the best teams around. And right now they're 11-1 in the conference and 19-2 overall. So it's going to be a huge test for them. But this team can do it. It's just like we talked about with the women's team and Gustavus. This men's team is talented, and they've got good goaltending. And I think if they can just put it all together and make sure they do it for 60 minutes, I think that we could be talking next Wednesday. We could be talking about a split at worst and maybe even a sweep.
Yep, absolutely. So now we're going to welcome in one of the captains for the men's hockey team, Ryan Stoynich, a senior from Calgary, Alberta. Ryan, thanks for being on the Cardinals Nest, just like sitting in sport communication class 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You heard us talking about that consistency, right? I think that's the magic formula every hockey team looks for, especially at the collegiate level when you play 2 games every weekend, Friday, Saturday. Tell us about, first of all, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll talk about the Friday-Saturday series thing.
I was going to say that, tell us about how you got started in hockey, but the fact that you're from Calgary, Alberta, I guess that kind of answers its own question.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about how you've advanced to, I know you played juniors, and then how you ended up coming here.
Yeah, for sure. So I played juniors at home in Calgary, so I was playing there 3 years, and then I had an option to go back for my 4th year. But I had a bad concussion that 3rd year, and I had a conversation with my parents. They're like, hey, we should probably look at some options and try to maybe get to school, use your brain while you still have one, kind of thing. And during the recruiting process, I kind of narrowed down what I wanted to focus on for studying for my major. And I was looking at a school out east or coming to St. Mary's, and came out for a visit and fell in love with the campus, and now I'm here. So no regrets with it.
It seems like a lot of people that we talk to say the same thing. It's like they get on campus and they just fall in love with it, and that's why they come. What is it about this campus that really is that draw that you get here and you go, whoa, this is a place for me?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the Bluffs is obviously just the physical component of the campus, where it feels like very nestled in to the community, and then once you get here, it's the people, and it feels like a family. And when I was talking to some of the guys, they really like the community aspect of it and just how much they enjoy being a part of the team.
And you also mentioned your major, actuarial science.
Yeah.
Tell us about your plans for that. Are you studying for the test? We talked to Jada Biermeyer, who's also doing that last week. And,
So I think there's 3 of us seniors, actuarial science majors, and I think Jada's studying for it, and then Justin on the baseball team. And then I don't know if I'm going to maybe challenge the exams, maybe looking for like a non-traditional actuary route, working in investments. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards, but I think when you work in actuarial science or study that, it kind of changes every day.
One of the questions that I've always wanted to ask a men's hockey player, because you have the junior route, how difficult was it when you decided after that 3rd year of juniors? Okay, so if you think about it, that's 3 years with really no studying, no books, no school.
Yeah.
And then you decide to come to college. How difficult was that transition to, you were 3 years of, hey, hockey is it, and that's all I've got, and now you come back to where, you've got the books and you've got everything besides hockey that you also have to do.
I think it was, I was fortunate that my dad kind of gave me a kick in the rear end and said, hey, you got to take a class, and it was a 3-credit class, and I maybe took like 6 months to complete it, so it was definitely not accelerated pace, but I had some experience. But like you said, like you come back into a full semester, full 17, 18 credits, and it's pretty tough, but you have a lot of the guys kind of helping you out and making sure you're staying on top of it. And the older guys, you got to give a lot of credit to, because they help you with just studying and time management and like when to get the studying done, and making sure, if you're playing on the road, you bring some books and get some studying in that aspect. But it was definitely a tough transition taking those years off.
So Ryan, I couldn't help as I was looking at the roster here and thinking back to your time in our sport communication class. That was your freshman year anchor course.
Yeah.
You remember Donny spoke in that class
Absolutely.
as well. I was highlighting all of the different players on the team who were in that class.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got Tyson Liverance, yourself, of course. Tyson, your fellow Canadian, right?
Yeah.
We've got Jack Hatton, Brady Lindauer, Trevor Wilhelm, and Trevor Paradise. Now that's a motley crew.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
That's
how
an all-star lineup
yeah.
right there.
I mean, you tell me how that was, but I think just coming into class every day it was awesome. I think that class for Trevor, Jack, Tyson, myself was something that we look forward to every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and just hearing your jokes and.
You did really appreciate those.
We needed those. Those were the ones that we got up for.
Yeah.
We made sure to write them down.
Yeah, and we had Jada and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Several of the soccer players were in there. Some volleyball players.
We were talking we should get a reunion going before we graduate. I think that'd be awesome.
Idea.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Might as well.
No, that was a fun class. That was a good group. But getting back to hockey now, Ryan, your thoughts on the season so far, and we talked about that roller coaster Friday, Saturday consistency thing. So maybe address that, and also the potential that this team has.
Yeah, I think obviously you guys touched on it, the coaching staff touched on it, and our team obviously knows we got to find that consistency. And we know we have a good team, like you talked about the potential, but it's making sure we stay disciplined and committed to the process and staying true to the systems. And then I feel like last night, especially we're up 4-0, we kind of get away from it. It's like, let's get some points, let's get some goals. I think we just got to, stay selfless and then stay committed to the systems, like I said before. But, it's kind of frustrating, but I know there's a lot of good in that room, and I feel like we're slowly putting it together, and I think this weekend will be a good test for that.
Talk a little bit about wearing the C, because to any hockey player that's a big deal, and there's a lot that goes into wearing that. It's not just having it on your sweater and going to talk to the officials when Ryan says, hey, find out why they called a penalty on us.
Yeah.
But talk a little about what that means to you to have the C on your uniform as our captain.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a huge honor, and it's something I'm extremely grateful for, and I don't take lightly. I think there's a lot of great leaders in that room, and I think there's a lot of people that could be wearing letters that aren't. And just to be selected 2 years ago now was an extreme honor, and then to have it again for my senior year with Brady and Tyson wearing A's too is fantastic. But like you said, it's a huge honor and something I don't take lightly.
I think one of the things that most people don't get the honor of seeing is just outside your locker room, they have a wall that's dedicated to all the captains in all of the years that we've had hockey. And you walk by that and you look at that and you realize that you're in some really special company.
Yeah, and I mean it's something that I feel like once I graduate I'll fully grasp, but it's something that you have a bad practice, you miss a few passes, like, do I really deserve to be up there, kind of thing. And but no, it's very humbling, and I'm truly honored to be on that wall with a lot of greats, and the captains that were before me during my time, Kyle, me, and Austin Arnold were great guys, and I learned a lot from them. So just to be sharing a wall with them means a lot.
Ryan, just a few minutes left here. We want to have a little fun now. We're running out of time, man. But your favorite, without putting yourself in the doghouse, because we have some important games coming up. Your favorite Ryan Egan story?
I would think just probably after that Oswego trip, after winning it, and just just hearing the how proud he was of us, and it really was kind of like an embodiment of like what this team's capable of, and what his systems and philosophies were really about. And it was kind of cool to get that win for him, especially with those wins against those ranked teams. And I feel like we didn't really get a lot of respect out there, and it was good to get that acknowledgement from him, like a good job. It was nice to have. It was like a proud dad moment almost. It was nice.
He comes across as the tough guy, but really he's a teddy bear inside.
I mean, depends who you ask, yeah. But he keeps it really professional. But he is a very personable guy once you talk to him and sit down with him. And I really enjoyed working with him the past 2 years.
Ryan,
wait.
Oh, you get to
We're
ask.
gonna have some fun. I just thought of one. Winter Olympics are here, and you have to take hockey out of it.
Ooh.
What is your favorite event to watch?
I'll go curling.
And then what's your favorite event that you would compete in?
Some sort of skiing.
No luge, no skeleton?
I would be so scared. I would be. Donny, you forgot that I had a concussion. You think I'm getting in there?
Ryan, I don't watch curling because it goes against my upbringing. I was always taught to never cast stones.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was coming. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, viewers. I am so sorry.
So, Ryan, you're stranded on a deserted island, but you can pick 2 people to be with you.
Okay.
Who's it going to be from your team?
My team.
Yeah. And why?
I'll go Trevor Paradise as 1.
Okay.
And then I'll probably go. Yeah, see, that's next one. All right. I'll go Trevor Paradise and then Tyson.
Okay.
I think Trevor will be super resourceful, and then Tyson, I think he'd just make it fun and lighthearted.
All right, good.
And I don't know how I'd help the group, but hopefully somebody comes gets us.
All right, Donnie, I'll let you take the last question before we sign off here.
Just to not get back on a serious note, but I still find it just amazing that you guys have played 18 games and you have yet to have a player score 2 goals in a game. I mean, to me, that it just boggles my mind that every game it's somebody different. Last night was the same thing. You had 4 goals. You had 4 different guys score them. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
I would say it's probably a combination of both. I think at some point somebody's going to have to step up and be that guy, especially coming into playoffs. But I think it's also a good thing where I think we have a lot of depth. And you look at guys like Nick Kiemel, who's scoring, and then Trevor Paradise is contributing as well. And it's really nice to see those guys step up and play in those roles.
All right, well, that's going to do it. Ryan, thanks so much for being on the show.
See how easy that was?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. We'll have to get the Panopto for the producing for next week.
There you go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, well, we'll train you in, Ryan.
Perfect, thank you.
That's good. So, all right, good luck this upcoming weekend.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest. Thanks to our producer today, Jordan Majeski. She's behind all the controls. Donny Nadeau, of course, our sports information director. Thanks so much for watching from the Pat and Jerry Pappenfuss Multimedia Lab in Aquinas Hall. Thanks for watching the Cardinals Nest.